Pokémon Home is a service designed to be like the ultimate storage application to keep all of your precious Pokémon safe. Having free access between both generations 8 and 9, a weird situation with Let's Go, and is able to receive one-way transfers from Bank and Go. If you are someone with a living dex, this subscription service very quickly just starts to feel like an essential part of the Pokémon experience. As someone with a living form dex in home, I have gone a bit above and beyond in my collection for these monsters, and I have collected every alternate form possible, from every unknown all the way to Blood Moon Ursaluna. I have them all. Well, technically, almost all, as there are some forms that are not able to be deposited inside of home, despite being in home's own form dex. There are a few different groups of these undepositable forms. First up, we have the Megas, Primal Reversions, and Gigantamax forms. These ones are pretty obvious exclusions from the collection due to just being in-battle gimmick-related forms. Pokemon with the Gmax factor are allowed in, but they will always be in their standard form, no matter what. In a similar vein, we have some other Pokemon with battle-specific form changes. These being Castform's Sunny, Rainy, and Snowy forms, Cherrim's Sunshine form, Darmanitan's Zen mode, both Unova and Galarian, Meloetta's Pirouette form, Aegislash's Blade form, Xerneas's Active form, Zygarde's Complete form, Wishy-Washy School form, Mimikyu's Busted form, Ultra Necrozma, Cramorant's Gulping and Gouging forms, Icecube's No Ice Face form, Morpeko's Hangry form, Palafin's Hero form, and the Ogerpon and Terrapago's Terra forms. These forms are all just simply locked behind some kind of battle mechanic, whether it be reliant on an ability or a move. Most of these are very straightforward, but Castform and Cherrim get a little bit weird. In Pokemon Go, a lot of the Pokemon with these different kind of forms are kind of just made to be completely different forms from their base forms and are unable to change between them. So Castform's 4 forms and Cherrim's 2 forms are fully separate from each other. Now, since you can transfer Pokemon from Go to Home, you may think that you can get these forms into your living dex, especially given how transferring from Go is the only way to get the Furfrou forms in Home, but alas, upon transfer they will revert to their base form no matter what. This covers most of the battle forms, but there's still Ash Greninja. Ash Greninja is a special form of Greninja from the anime that made its way into the games through the Sun and Moon demo. This Greninja has the special ability to transform into Ash Greninja after securing a knockout in battle. What allows this is the special Battle Bond ability that is exclusive to this Greninja. No other Greninja can get this ability, and Battle Bond Greninja is unable to breed. Greninja with the Battle Bond ability are allowed to enter Home just fine, but will always appear as just a normal Greninja. As of the writing of this video, the only game Home can send Pokemon to that has Greninja is Scarlet and Violet, and in these games, the ability doesn't even grant a form change, just merely a stat boost, so the chance of Ash Greninja seeing Home is seemingly less likely than the rest. There's more ways to change a Pokemon's form than just with the moves and abilities in battle, and that's through items. Either through held items or key items, you can fully control when a Pokemon's form will change. The big issue with Pokemon changing form with a held item is that held items aren't permitted in Home. They just get put right back into your bag upon transfer. So this leaves Origin Form Dialga, Origin Form Palkia, Origin Form Giratina, all 18 of Arceus' alt-type forms, Genesect's Burn, Douse, Chill, and Shock Drive forms, Silvally's 17 alt-type forms, Zacian's Crown Sword form, Zamazenta's Crown Shield form, and Ogerpon's Heartflame Mask, Wellspring Mask, and Cornerstone Mask forms. The Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, and Arceus forms are in a weird spot. As in Legends Arceus, there is no held item, so these forms are all changed through key items. Legends Arceus is also the game that made it so that Shaman Sky, a form previously unable to be boxed, is now able to be deposited into Home. So maybe through a similar vein, these 4 would be able to be boxed. But no, they all revert back to their base forms whenever they reach Home. As cool as it would be to finally have Origin Giratina in my living dex, I am very glad that I don't need to gather up a whopping 19 Arceus to showcase all of its forms. While I'm at it, I figure I should mention that Genesect and its forms are all in Go, and very much separate like with Castform and Cherrim. Keeping with the similarities to those two, every form of Genesect transferred to Home will default to the base form. The last major grouping of banned forms are the fusion forms. These are when you fuse 2 Pokemon together to make a singular Pokemon. These are Black Kyurem, White Kyurem, Duskmane Necrozma, Dawnwings Necrozma, Ice Rider Calyrex, and Shadow Rider Calyrex. These ones I feel make a lot more sense due to being a fusion of 2 Pokemon, which have a lot of extra restrictions, such as not even being able to be traded, probably due to the game having to keep track of the data of both of the Pokemon that were fused together. You can't even have both Black Kyurem and White Kyurem at the same time, and the same goes for the Calyrex forms. While the in-battle forms are more understandable for their absence, having forms that are possible to be in a living form dex in a game be unable to be in a Home living dex is just kinda unfortunate. I doubt this will ever be remedied, as asking for Home to have to add up to 6,000 possible held items on top of everything else to keep track of just doesn't feel like it'll be answered. There's also some very special Pokemon that are on Home's no-fly list, and that is Partner Pikachu and Partner Eevee from the Let's Go games. These two Pokemon are your starter for their respective version, and due to being an integral part of the game's mechanics, such as being the fill-in for HMs and always being on your character's model at all times, they're also not just regular Pikachu or Eevee, as they have better stats and a whole slew of exclusive moves to make up for their inability to evolve. In a very similar vein, your ride Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, Koraidon and Miraidon, are both locked to their games for also being integral to the game's mechanics. They do serve a far less of a blow as the partner Pokemon do, due to not being able to be used as a Pokemon until the very end of the game, whereas the partners are your starter Pokemon. There's also some technicalities you can add to this list, due to just being stuck in the past. Shadow Lugia, Spiky Ear Pichu, Cosplay Pikachu, and even some of the totem Pokemon. To elaborate on the totems, in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, you can collect stamps throughout the Alola region and trade them in to get the totem Pokemon you fight across these games and the original Sun and Moon. The totems that were present in the originals are all fine and dandy to enter home, however they lose their special totem sizing and just look like normal Pokemon. The ones that are only in the Ultra games, Arachnoquid, Marowak, Togedemaru, and Ribombee, they are unable to leave the Ultra games. They are barred from Bank, meaning that they are also barred from home. A sad fate for such a fun subset of Pokemon. I don't even have any of the totem Pokemon in my living form decks, as I don't see much of a point if I can't bring over the entire set. Alright, we touched on Go with forms that get reverted, but not about the ones that can't be transferred at all. Pokemon Go has a lot of costume Pokemon, which are just as you would expect, Pokemon in some kind of costume or outfit. Even Ash Hat Pikachu, which exists in the main series game and is able to enter home, is unable to be transferred over. Pokemon Go is a live service game. One day it will end. And while your normal Pokemon can all be transferred to home, any costume Pokemon you cherish will be forced to go down with the ship. My very first shiny in Go is a Sunglasses Blastoise. He is one of my favorite Pokemon that I own. I've had him for over 6 years. He was the first Pokemon I Mega Evolved in Go. He was my first best buddy. I've even dressed up my avatar to match with him. But one day we will have to say goodbye. There is even a simple solution. With the rise of marks, and the existence of ones like the Alpha Mark, they could just make it so costume Pokemon can transfer over to home, have their outfit removed, and receive a mark. I'd personally go with something like the costume mark, giving the title of the well-dressed. I know the chance of something like this happening is pretty much zero, but I will hope and dream that one day I can secure my beloved Blastoise as a proper member of my collection. Moving on, we have one last Pokemon to talk about. People who know Home's weird restrictions, or are even just familiar with this channel, probably know what's coming, and it's the Spot Panda Pokemon Spinda. In the Faithful remakes, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the code for the Spinda patterns are supposedly reversed, and so there would be inconsistent patterns between BDSP and Home. And so instead of fixing this, or making a workaround, they just banned BDSP Spinda from entering Home. And Spinda and Home can't enter BDSP either. Just a Pokemon forever doomed to be locked in these games, while having absolutely nothing special about it. Alright, I think that's everything. It's possible I'm missing something, and if so, let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like or even subscribing. Both would be greatly appreciated as they do truly help out the channel. This has been Big Blast 99, and I hope you all have yourselves a goddamn good one.